Business Focus, brought to you by KCB. KCB, making the difference.
In 2013, Kenya marks 50 years of independence from colonial rule. But what is there to show of this independence? Since 1963, a number of major factories and industries were set up by colonialists. And are they still functional or have they collapsed? And that is our major focus on this week's edition of KTN Business Focus. We bring you a story of a collapsed cotton ginnery. We highlight tea farming in Bungoma County, and in the regional markets segment, we take a look at Nzoia Sugar Company 35 years later. We welcome your feedback on the show on our email address bf@standardmedia.co.ke or SMS number 8041. Also, you can reach us through our social media platforms displayed right on your screen. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Welcome to the show and let's do business. As Kenya marks 50 years of independence, Business Beyond Limits highlights some of the collapsed industries across the country. And this week, we highlight Malaba Malakisi Farmers Cooperative Union in Bungoma County. Cotton production was introduced in Kenya in the 1900s by the colonial administration. It was not until the early 1960s that the crop was introduced into many parts of the country, being encouraged in areas with low rainfall. Nyanza, Western, Coast, Central, Eastern and Rift Valley provinces were the areas known for cotton farming grown by small-scale farmers. Kenya's cotton sector was still dominated by private colonial ginners by the time of independence in 1963. It wasn't until the end of 1990 that the government introduced controls into the sector. It helped cooperative societies buy ginneries from the colonialists. Marketing margins were controlled, fixed producer prices, and invested heavily in textile mills. Malaba Malakisi Farmers Cooperative Union Ginnery in Bungoma County is one of the collapsed industries. Handed over by the Indian management in 1976, the cooperative union managed cotton production until the early 1990s when the ginnery collapsed. Wycliffe Opili has been manager for Malaba Malakisi Farmers Cooperative Union Ginnery since 1995 to date.
The union purchased the ginnery from the former Indian owners with a cooperative bank loan which was given to the bank, given by the bank, and all along it has been management by the bank, the Minister of Cooperatives, the owners, that is the farmers management, changing hands from 1976 to 1995 when I took over as a farmers cooperative manager. All along after 1995, it has been battles of creditors with the court cases.
While operational cotton was ginned, oil extracted from cotton seeds as double refined oil and the residue was sent to factories for the manufacture of soap. At the time, the ginnery employed over 400 workers, but all that stalled, rendering the workers jobless and farmers were left with no livelihoods.
People are today very poor. They depended on tobacco, which is not giving them much. It is labor intensive and time consuming. They are not getting, they have destroyed even many trees around here just because of the use of tobacco as fuel to cure tobacco. But when the cotton was operational, the people were getting funds within, and it used to come within a shorter time that They were able to pay fees, school fees for their kids within. They were able also to get their health facilities catered for by the facility.
Currently, the Jinnahs, Go Down Cotton Stores, spare stores and offices at Malaba Malakisi Farmers Cooperative Ginnery are all in a deplorable state. All activities stalled and what is left of the ginnery are outdated machinery.
I've been taking care of the facility. That is barring those who are intruding to the premises. Although there is a vandalism that happened, but all of which, if they were left, then they would have stripped the whole thing down.
Since its collapse, farmers have since resorted to tobacco farming as means of income generation. And yet, for the people of Bungoma to regain their cotton production glory will take efforts by the government to revive this ginnery. Action to its revival has been extremely slow.
There has been interest, but without action. Because I have always remembered, even in 1997, I took my own one-man delegation to the office of the president with my write-up, a memorandum to the president, and I was thinking they were going to revive. Nothing.
The first engine at Malaba Malakisi Farmers Cooperative Union Ginnery was brought here way back in 1922. And at its highest glory, this ginnery produced about 3.6 million tons of cotton annually and employed about 600 people. But well, it's now years on, and all we can see that is left of this ginnery is this and a lot more of this. And the Bungoma County government hopes to revive this ginnery to create employment for so many unemployed people in Bungoma. Bungoma County government has prioritized on reviving the cotton ginnery in Malaba Malakisi. However, for this to happen, there is need to fasten the process.
In as long as this place starts working a bit, they will just grow cotton. We have a lot of seed here, which is awaiting to see what they have been hearing, that there is a rehabilitation process that will come.
The returns actually would be higher than relying on only one type of crop. They are relying on only maize and disregarding these other crops that can bring in more income for them.
As Kenya marks 50 years of independence from colonial rule, cotton farming that boosted the textile industry has depleted to an all-time low. Tea is one of the major cash crops in Kenya and is ranked the third major foreign exchange earner for the country. For years, its production has been largely associated with some parts of South Rift and sections of Central Province. However, this phenomenon is slowly changing as farmers in other areas of the country gradually adapt to tea farming. Simon Cheshari is a mixed farmer in Mount Elgon area, and in the last 10 years, he ventured into tea farming, a practice that is not so common in Mount Elgon area and Bungoma County at large.
Right from the beginning, getting the seedlings was one major problem. We got some from the Nyayo Tea Zone, and we got some from a few individuals who were able to raise some nurseries. And now at the moment, we are getting tea from Kapsara Tea Factory, way in Cherangani.
As Mr. Cheshari tells us, soil and climate conditions of Mount Elgon region are favorable for tea farming, but there are far too many challenges facing the farmers in this area. Tea factories are located far away, making tea collection a huge challenge.
First factory was in Mudete, in Vihiga district, where the first farmers were taking. Even the Nyayo Tea Zone used to go all the way to Vihiga. It's a long way until the establishment of Kapsara Tea Factory, which to us looks nearer, although it is still very far. That's where we take the tea. And one problem that we as small-scale farmers who are coming up first was how to transport the tea to the factory. We were assisted by Nyaya tea zone. But when they got enough tea, there was no space in their vehicle. So for quite some time, our tea was wasted.
Mr. Cheshire harvests his tea on selected days through the week, with tea collection being done twice a week. He tells us that tea farming has been of great economic help to him.
For every kilo here now, we are given 14 shillings. So like this farm here, I produce about, in a week, about 100 kilos. We are given only 2 days. That's another problem again. Kapsara has given us 2 days to plug the tea, Mondays and Fridays. And perhaps as we increase, become more farmers, I think more days will be given to us.
Apart from tea, Cheshire also practices coffee farming. Coffee plant does very well in this area, but as in the case of tea, coffee farming too faces serious marketing problems.
What we want is our own miller, and I'm glad to tell you that at least the union, the cooperative union, the coffee, have worked away, and there is a miller being established in the constituency down in Cheptais. And that is a big boost to the county and also to the people of the mountain. So again, when the miller is there, then we need to produce more.
With the devolved governments in place, expectations are high, with Simon Cheshire and many other farmers hoping these governments will put up structures that will ensure better marketing and production of tea and coffee.
We need the support from the county. We need to support the farmers, either through the cooperatives or through groups that have come up, so that we can meet the challenges that we are talking about. The challenges of not having enough seedlings, the challenges of not getting fertilizer, for example, in good time. These are critical to us. If those things are put in place and the farmers are encouraged, they are assisted, and where we can be able to get loan facility, our farmers need that kind of help, because I mentioned that some of them have the heart, they want to do it, but they are limited by the resources they have.
In the regional markets this week, we feature Nzoia Sugar Company, established way back in 1975 with about 1,300 permanent employees. We examine how the company is faring 35 years after its establishment. For decades, the sugar industry has been the major economic activity in Western Kenya, with mills in the sector generating millions in revenue annually. The sector has created employment opportunities for thousands of locals in Western and Nyanza regions. It is, however, not clear if sugarcane farming will continue dominating the Western region's economy in the next years to come, and as Kenya celebrates 50 years of self-rule, many challenges continue to haunt the sector. Located in Bungoma County, Nzoia Sugar Company is among the key players in Kenya's sugar industry. Its establishment dates back to 1975, though it formally started to process sugar in 1978. The government of Kenya is the major shareholder, owning 98% of the total shares, while FCB and Industrial Development Bank own the remaining 2%.
At the time of installation, it had a capacity of crushing 2,000 tons of cane per day. Gradually, that was enhanced to 3,000 in the year 1992. Today, that capacity has not quite been attained, but the installed capacity is to 3,000 tons, although of course we just average about 2,700 tons because of certain challenges that Raina will address.
The management of Nzoia Sugar has changed severally since its inception, but currently the company is managed by the Kenyan government. Prior to that, a technical team had been tasked to run the company. These changes in management have in one way or another affected the company's sugar production levels.
There has been a gradual improvement. At the time the technical team left the company around 2003, the average cane crushed was just about maybe 2,300, but I've indicated at the moment we average about 2,700, sometimes 2,800. So in terms of effective utilization of the installed capacity, there has been an improvement. We have also recorded tremendous growth in the sense that a year ago now, we've had to rebrand, and now we have our branded sugar in the supermarkets. All along, we only produced bulk sugar.
The current management is striving to improve the company's efficiency and increase its production capacity. Consequently, over the last 3 years, the company has been carrying out a rehabilitation exercise on its machinery.
We've done complete mills rehabilitation at a cost of about 450 million over the past 3 years. We have recently bought a new generator that can produce up to 4 megawatts of electricity. Currently, what we have only produces about 3 megawatts. We have also installed a new system called the spray bond system, which helps in availing sufficient vacuum for sugar production. That, of course, will have the effect of increasing our capacity in terms of utilizing the installed capacity. We have put up a second dryer. Initially, we were running on one, and since it is old, it was susceptible to breakdowns. But now with a second line, we shall be able to run more efficiently, and also install a second line of evaporators. Usually we have to be forced to stop for maintenance every 2 weeks, but once that is completed, we should be able to run continuously for even a month before we have any stop for routine maintenance.
It is expected that once the rehabilitation is complete, Nzoia Sugar Company is set to achieve its plant's installed capacity of processing over 300,000 tons of cane per day. This will go a long way in improving the country's sugar production levels as well as Bungoma County's economy at large.
The only real economic venture in the county now is Nzoia Sugar Company. Apart from what I've indicated, that we're now able to find our product in supermarkets throughout the country. In terms of employment, I think it is the biggest employer. Maybe after the county government itself, we employ about 1,319 permanent staff. We have about 5,000 cane cutters who are employed on a casual basis, and we have about another 2,000 people employed on a temporary basis. So in terms of direct support, you realize about 7,000, slightly more than 7,000 people and their dependents depend largely on the operations of Nzoia Sugar Company.
The company has also been hit hard by unpredictable drop of sugar prices witnessed in the recent past, a situation that has affected prompt payment to farmers. Other challenges include the emotive issue of sugar cartels.
Maybe some sugar is getting access into the local market from neighboring countries, perhaps avoiding tax. Because if you look at our needs in the country, of course we are a net sugar importer as a country. We import nearly 300,000 metric tons to supplement the local production. What has been imported so far is just about 150. So we still require more of that sugar to come from the Comesa region. But despite the fact that that quota has not been satisfied, we still have a lot of sugar in the market. So that, I think, has had the effect of bringing down the prices.
Moving forward, the regulators in the sugar industry as well as the newly created county governments must step up to ensure fair prices by sugar industries to ensure sugar security and fair prices of sugar in the country.
It doesn't matter whether the company is in the hands of private entrepreneurs, whether it is in the hands of government. I believe the sugar companies, with proper regulation, with proper protection, I think are able to operate profitably. And of course, maybe private entrepreneurs can bring in more capital so that we can now move out and diversify in terms of bringing in a cogeneration distillery, put up water bottling plants, I think move into animal feeds production. But that, again, government can do. So with proper systems in place, I believe we do not need private entrepreneurs. But either way, I think these companies can operate profitably.
It's been evaluating some of the factories and industries that were established during colonial times and maybe could have stood the test of time all the way to 2013. And that brings us to the end of the show this week, where we featured majorly Bungoma County. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. I would like to say something, that whatever you do, put your mind, strength and efforts in it, because without it, you will reap nothing. From the rest of the team and myself, we're saying good night, and until next Thursday, good evening.
Business Focus, brought to you by KCB. KCB, making the difference.